You know, this is DJ Wolf. I was thinking about the things that's going on or have went on in my life and why I'm the kind of person that I am. I was thinking maybe I'm the kind of person that I am is because the kind of person that the way I've always been treated like shit at times. And I feel, man, that sometimes in our communities, man, I can understand why people turn to God. Now, let me get this straight now. People turn to God, well, at least me, I rely on God for spiritual awakening. I do. Am I into all the extra stuff in the black church? No, I'm not. I told I made no bones about it. I'm not in all of the extra stuff. You know. I'll get that in a second. But for spiritual guidance, yes. But people have to realize, and I thought about it, people have used the Bible for both good and demonic purposes. I've always tried to use it for good. You know, purposes to get something out of it, something that will inspire me and will make me a better person. You know, because there are a lot of things that you can take out of it and use it for your daily guidance. There's no doubt about that. I just don't, you know, as far as some of the things that's practiced in the black church and the way people are going to be people, and it's kind of to a point where you can't really change people unless you know people's hearts. You know, you're not going to know everybody's heart. Not everybody's heart you think is in the right place is going to be in the right place. Many times over, they won't be. That's just facts. Oh, man, jeez, hard to turn across here. Anyhow, I always do that mess, man. You know, PG, man, I'm telling you, the PG cops out here something else. They give you the dirtiest ass looks, man, even when you ain't doing shit. That's another story, you know. I'm telling you, they do. They real wonky, man. But getting back to what I was saying, I know why, even back in the 80s, why I always had spiritual awakening to God. Because I had nowhere to turn at the time. This was, for me, it was 1979, 1980, man. And my parents wasn't on the best of terms. I won't go into detail about it, but they weren't on the best terms at all. And I really didn't want to talk about to my friends. You know, my friends were my friends. My friends life was my friend life, and anything else in my home stayed right where it was. But I can understand why at the age of 15 I turned to God. It wasn't because of my mother necessarily. It wasn't because of my brother and my sister. It was for me. I just had a lot of doubts about, not necessarily doubts about my manhood, but doubts about my abilities as a young man. You know, because I was getting doubted. You know, when somebody doubts you and not trying to build, it's hard to build yourself on something that you don't have any much awareness of building about on, especially when you're getting doubted. You know, I felt that way for quite some time. You know, It's only when I started raising kids and I said, you know what, my kid's going to become an independent thinker, but at the same time, he's going to learn to thrive on his own. But with my guidance, but not with a lot of that, you know, well, this is that way and that's the right way and nothing else. No, ain't no shit like that. And not putting the burden of certain things on him that he didn't need to have burden on. There was nothing for him to have a burden for. But it's no wonder, like I said, I was thinking about that. It says no wonder I was heavily turning to the church, because that was my spiritual rock. It was the thing that would set me right when nothing else did. When I could have the belief that I myself, the God in me, can do better if I believe in me. Real talk. And I think it did help. It was the starting point for me to becoming a better me, and to becoming a better person. Be not only spiritually but mentally aware of what my focuses need to rely on, or what I need to rely on for myself to build myself up. You know, I thought about that. People don't know your situation better than you. They don't. They think they do, but they don't. You know, and there are times where I do thank God for me to be able to dealt with what I had to deal with, but get out of the situations that I had to deal with. You know, it's a song. I actually might, you know, that's a song I actually might do at church. I forgot the name of it. No, it's a song called "Been Through the Fire," and that's kind of my synopsis of what I had to deal with. You know, I've been through the fire, but I got out. And of course, it was done by a white gospel artist, but it doesn't matter. The lyrics, to me, tells a lot about what I had to deal with and what I had to endure. Because I have. In essence, I have been through that fire. I was through that fire at a young age. Many times over. You know? But someone else is trying to get me to relive their fire every day. You know? And one of the things I wanted to say about growing up, one thing, and I'm gonna say this to not only my generation of parents who are raising kids, but the future generations from here on in. If your parents had burdened you about something that had nothing to do with you, don't do that for your kids. Don't do that to your kids. Believe me. Because if you put a burden to your kids about something that they didn't need to be burdened on about, especially something that had absolutely nothing to do with them, you're stressing them out. I went through that. I went through the stress of having to be concerned about whether my parents are going to either split up, divorce, or kill each other. I witnessed all of that, or at least all of the witness of them threatening them to do that anyway, among everything else. They didn't actually do that, but it came close, you know. And but it was always talk about, you know, this, that, and blah, blah, blah. It's just a whole thing. I'm telling you, I keep saying I'm going to write an ebook. And I'm going to tell you, if I ever get the plans for how to write an ebook, mark my word, I will be writing an ebook. I don't know when, but it's coming. It's got to. It's got to. And I've been threatening for years, ever since the 90s, about writing an ebook. Even when I first started on the internet about 22 years ago, I threatened to write a book then. And I need to go ahead and get it in already. Maybe when I go on my next break, I'll do that. Because I'm seriously giving this some thought. I really am. I really am. Because I thought about that for a very, very long time. Yes, Yes, I have. And I think it's due. I think it's due and overdue. Because I think a lot of our kids, and I'm going to say this on record, a lot of our kids are underachievers today because of their stress from dealing with the burdens of their parents that they shouldn't have had to bring burden about. You know, regardless of what if they saw something they were burdened on, or something that the parents were saying about, worrying them about, something that like the marriage to the kids and stuff like that they shouldn't have to worry about, or cursing at each other, tearing each other down in front of children. Guess what? It's going to put that on the kids, and you guess the kids going to start getting stressed, and they'll start doing the same thing, and they'll act out. Real talk. That's why a lot of times, you know, people say what they want about Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, I think, really was about the kids. I've said it before. I think he was about, I think he was really about wanting to protect kids. You know, I never did know what happened to the Heal the World Foundation. I think they might have disbanded or something. I haven't heard nothing else about any of the organizations that he has started ever again since his past in 2009. You know, I think the kids in this world are the most, and this is me, especially, you know, I can't speak for really other countries. I know it happens in other countries too. A lot of it happens in other countries, and this country too. I think children have always been the most neglected society on the planet. I know for certain black children have been. There's no doubt in my mind about that one. And we have. They've been very neglected. Kids, we know to be true, are 10 times more sexually abused, more mentally abused, and more physically abused than any other demographic on the planet. There's no question about that. They have. And it's sad that, you know, that people don't get, you know, I'm bothered by that. And you wonder why some kids are fucked up? This is why. This is exactly why. Oh, I just park over there. Some of y'all wonder about that. Well, I don't know why these kids are all messed up. Nah, I know why they messed up. Because it's part of neglect from just people in general, parents and everybody else. You know. My parking thing. Okay. I can't come with 2 cents, boy, I tell you. All right, there we go. It's just a shame, man, because I thought about that. Kids are very neglected. And I think this society, let alone this country and the world, you can do more about it. That's why they are the way they are today. And we need to do more. I'm going to talk about it in another segment of my podcast a little later. This is DJ Wolf. I'm out.